This is a problem from your lab assignment, section 3.5. This is problem number 4. They want us to find dy dx by implicit differentiation. So our equation, the implicit equation here, has a 6 times sine x plus cosine y is equal to the sine x times the cosine y. So just so we remember that whenever we have doing implicit differentiation, when we're taking the derivative of something with a y in it and it's composed with another function, we're taking the derivative of the outer function and putting y in it, and then we're going to take the derivative of the inside. Now a couple of these, the right hand side especially has a product, so we're going to need to keep that in mind. So we're going to start with the left-hand side. We want to take the derivative of 6 sine x. The derivative of 6 sine x is 6 times cosine x, positive. And the derivative of cosine y is going to be a negative sine y times the y prime that they have put in this step. So that's the first part. Now we're going to take a look at the right-hand side. The right-hand side is a product, so we're going to need to use a product rule. The product rule is going to be the first term times the derivative of the second term. We took that derivative already. That's negative sine y. Don't forget the times y prime, but they actually included it here already. When you're doing your work on your own, make sure you don't forget it. Okay, so that's the first part of the product rule. The second part is going to be the second term times the derivative of the first. So the first term is sine x, the derivative of that is cosine x, so here's your product rule. Now that you have that, we have this equation. This is the equation that we get after we took the derivative of the left and the right hand sides. So we have a 6 cosine x minus sine y times y prime, and then we have a cosine x cosine y minus sine x sine y and a y prime. We need to solve for this. So let's actually write this out so that we can get a handle on what it is we're doing. We're going to do some algebra. This is really, at this point, this becomes basic algebra, but we still have to be kind of careful about what we're dealing with. So what do we have? We have 6 cosine x minus sine y, and then times y prime. That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have cosine x times cosine y, and then a minus sine x times sine y times y prime. So if we take a look at this expression, let's see if we can shrink this a little bit so that we can see the full equation. What we want to do is we want to gather all the terms that have the y prime and bring that over to the other side. So it looks like they're going to bring it onto the left-hand side. So let's bring this term over to the left-hand side, including the y prime. Let's copy it. So let's bring this over to the other side. So I'll get rid of that and bring it over to this side. And then now we're going to take this expression over here and bring it over to the right side. The 6 cosine x will go on the right side. Now, originally would have a plus there, but then we're going to bring it over to the right hand side, so it will become a minus. So this is what they have. We will factor out a y prime as well. So let's factor out the y prime. And then after we factor out a y prime. Actually, let's do that in the next step so it doesn't look too confusing. In our next step, we're going to factor out a y prime. So in our next step, we have y primes taken out, and then all we have is this thing. So we have sine x and sine y. Minus sine y, they have that here already, is equal to cosine x cosine y minus 6 cosine x, and they have that on the other side as well. Okay, so we're close. Y is almost by itself, which is what we're asked to do, and we have y prime times something is equal to something else. So what we have is, to solve for this, we just need to take this expression, the sine x sine y minus sine y, and bring that over to the other side. So let's see if we can do that in the next line. We're going to take this out and divide by it. So what we're going to have left is this thing divided by this thing that we just got. And that should be our expression. So what we're going to do here is we're essentially going to copy this as just the numerator. So in our numerator, we're going to have cosine x times cosine y minus 6 times cosine x. And our denominator will have this expression over here, the sine x times sine y minus the sine y. And that's pretty much what we had over here. So that's it. So remember a few important things here in implicit differentiation. When you're taking the derivative with a y in it, you have to use the chain rule. And once you do that, once you have the derivative of both sides of your equation, you want to collect all the y primes over to one side and all the non-y primes over to the other side. You're going to factor out a y prime and then divide by whatever is left in that factor, and then you're going to get your result. Okay? All right, hope that helps. Good luck.